transliterations. In the King James Version, it says, "Cast your bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days." And then it says, "Give a portion to 7, and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth." That's the King James Version. Now let me give you another version, and then I'm going to just give you a little bit of what that actually means. In the Message, it says, "Be generous, invest in acts of charity. Charity yields high returns. Don't hoard your goods. Spread them around. Be a blessing to others. This could be your last night." And that's a great version, but I want to read one more version to you, which is my favorite, and this is the Amplified. "Cast your bread on the surface of many waters. Be diligently active. Make thoughtful decisions." And this literally means about your money. Be very diligent and make thoughtful decisions about what you do with your money, about what you do with what God has placed in your hands. And then it says, "For you will find it after many days. Give a portion to 7, or even divide it to 8. Take your money and invest it in several places, just like you would if you were in your garden and you're sowing a seed. If you've got 10 seeds, you're not going to take one seed and sow it, because you don't know if that's going to be a good seed. You don't know what that seed is going to bring forth. You don't know what harvest it's going to bring. And so Ecclesiastes tells us to sow it in 7 places, even 8. In other words, don't just depend on the job that you have. Remember in 2020 when COVID hit and companies were firing and letting people go and saying don't come in because the company, the world is on shutdown, and COVID is highly contagious, so people didn't have a job and they didn't have any other streams of income. Well, I believe that the Lord was saying then, and he's still saying now, that we cannot depend on one stream of income. If you're married, you can't just depend on your husband's one stream of income or even 2 streams. If you aren't married, you can't just depend on the one stream of income or even 2 streams. Listen, you can't depend on what the government gives you if you're in a position where you are getting government assistance. You've got to get to the place where you are depending fully on God and trusting and relying on God to give you different ideas, witty ideas, inventions, different innovations for how to create wealth and income.